Destination Uri. 'Tis the morning programme going live to you wherever you are in the world. It's a joy to be streaming, they say. Once upon a time it was broadcasting. Now it's streaming. I beg your pardon. Delighted to welcome into studio Joseph Alphonsus Morgan. How are you, sir?
I am just grand, thank you.
You look
yes.
the very epitome, the very essence of being just grand. You're chilled.
Yeah.
And that's the way to be, because I was
Yes.
saying to you earlier, we do nothing but being chilled in here. But of course, today's a wee bit chilled, temperature-wise. They started to drop a bit. But I mean,
Yes.
that would do no harm. Listen, you're with the part and parcel of the Newry Writers Group.
Yes.
Now, that's been going on for how long now?
It must be 12 to 15 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you're over the first, you're around the course once.
I have,
And
yes.
it's all still going
Yes.
strongly.
And I'm the senior one.
Well,
Yeah.
the wise owl.
Yes.
You're there, indeed, indeed, indeed.
Yes.
But remind the people, if you would, Joseph, why the Writers Group came into existence. What was the
Well,
kind of raison
I can
d'etre
only
of-
say it all started from Madge MacDonald and Patsy Quinn.
Is it that long ago?
Yes.
Is that the time Madge did the book?
Yes.
She did a book up at
Yes, yes, just
in
short,
Ballyholland.
yes, just shortly after her book. She met me in Super Valley and she introduced me to the Writers Group.
Yeah.
And the same day I met Patsy Quinn and he sort of recruited me
Into it.
into it, and we started off down in the shamrocks,
Yes.
in the kitchen,
Oh, goodness.
boiling the tea pot and having a cup of tea and a bit of crack, and it all sprang from there.
Yeah.
And also a wonderful wee Ballyholland bard, Eddie Connie McAteer.
Connie Maggie.
Yes.
Have you ever discovered why the Connie is in there? What is that about?
Well, I cannot understand the name Connie, but you know, in Ballyholland, every McAteer has to have a nickname of some sort.
Yeah. And he got Connie.
He got Connie.
Well, we might someday find out the origins of that name.
Yes.
What it's all about there. What's your own origins? Newry to the tip of your toes to the top of your head.
I'm a Newry Nuck Rowan, born and reared.
Up the
Yes.
canal.
Yes.
On a bubble, you say. But
Yes, yes.
Newry Nuck.
Yeah, Lennon Hall Square, the barracks.
Were you the barracks man?
Yeah, indeed it was.
Now,
Yes.
how long ago? You're a very senior man. You're very high on the tree of wisdom and knowledge. Don't I
Yes.
say that beautifully?
That's beautiful.
Just
yes.
the way, a man
Ah.
could say to you, you're 86 or something like that, but I wouldn't do that.
Oh, well, you can put
I'm
another,
71.
You can put another year to it.
Kind of 87.
Yeah, and 2.5 years will
Well,
be
listen to
90.
me. You are doing something very right. By the cut of you, you're doing
Yes.
something that's absolutely right, because
Yeah.
you look good and you sound good. What's your secret?
Well, the only secret I can find is I didn't drink. I'm not a drinking man, and I always kept fit.
Yeah.
I was always involved with the Bosco.
Of course.
When I was a lad, I was a boxer and was a bit of an athlete. I suppose that all paid off
Eventually.
in the
long
later
run.
years. Yeah.
Well, have you any, at 87, I'm allowed to ask you, have you any aches and pains at the moment?
No, just at the moment, the only problem I have, Rowan, is stone trouble.
Stone throw?
Yes, stone. I'm going to Craigavon in the new year to get
Gallstones?
get a stone removed.
Ah, sure, you just go zap and then
Yes, it's a really kidney stone.
no bother to you, that. That would be painful, of course.
It's painful.
The event, but getting rid
Yes.
of it's no bother at all.
No.
That would be.
But other than that, I thank God every morning when I'm waking up for another day and my health.
Yeah. It's interesting that you thank God. Do you believe in God?
Well, I do. I think it's nice to believe in case. You know, I always say in case.
There's no atheists in a foxhole
No.
in the middle of a battle.
No.
They're all saying their prayers, I tell
Yes,
you.
yes.
Goodness gracious. Hasn't the weather taken a turn for It's a sunny day, but it's very cold out there.
I don't mind as long as the rain keeps away.
No, that's a great one. You've
Yes.
heard that said a million times. I don't mind as long as the rain
Rain
keeps
keeps
away.
away.
That
Yeah.
would be the thing. And of course, my mantra is there's no such thing as bad weather. There's just bad clothes. You can kit out
yes,
for the weather. If you get
yeah.
the right clothes, you're okay. You
Yes.
make it all good.
Yes.
So the Newry that you grew up in, Lennon Hall Square,
Yes.
There was an army presence there. There was a barracks.
There was a barracks there in the First World War, and the room that we slept in our family, our bedroom, Willie Mealy was born in that room.
He's the fellow who did great things with Celtic.
For Celtic, yes.
My goodness.
He was the son of a British soldier who was stationed in the barracks in the First World War.
My goodness.
Yes.
And you, what was it like there, the barracks in those days? What kind of community was it?
Well, first of all, Rowan, people were very poor then. Like that was way back in the early 30s.
Well, when you say very poor, did you have 3 square meals a day?
Well, my mommy seen to that, and my daddy.
You got fed?
Yes, yeah, yes. We got the old porridge and buttermilk and the spuds.
What's wrong?
So what more do you want? Yes.
I wouldn't call that very poor. I would say you were doing all right.
Yes.
Which was good. And the memories of that time, would you have been a family that would have gone down to Hill Street to the cathedral, to Mass and stuff?
Well, Mommy, God love her, she was very religious and had us to Mass, 8 o'clock Mass, every morning religiously, straight home, quick breakfast, and away like blazes to school, and we're usually late for school.
Yes. And the school you went to as well?
I went to Christian Brothers.
In the Abbey?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
And you were in the red brick building with a garden at the front door?
Yes.
That was it?
Yes, and I was marched over to the opening of the primary school from the car stand school in 1938.
So you made the transfer?
Yes.
From the car. Does it ever strike you as sad that something as wonderful, that building of red brick, the
Yes.
car stand school, where boys of Newry attended, some of them in their bare feet,
Exactly.
in
yes.
the early days,
Yes.
that car stand school was razed to the ground. It was gone. It was and replaced with modern stuff.
Yes.
It's a pity that, isn't it? Or do you not?
Well, I actually, Rowan, the car stand school wasn't raised to the ground.
But it's where Courtney's Corner is now.
Yes, but it's still the same building.
Still the same building, but all the red bricks have gone.
All the red bricks have gone.
All
that's
of that,
right.
you know,
yes,
it's still,
yes.
yeah, that's the pity of it.
That's true, yes.
What, of all things from those early days of your life, Joseph, and you take a great pride in your second name, Alphonsus.
I do, yes.
Now, you would insist on being called Joseph Alphonsus Morgan.
Yes.
What's the origin of the names, Joseph
Well,
Alphonsus?
would you like to hear that story?
I would, very much so.
Well, when I was born, this is a true story. When I was born, my mammy had a great love of an American singer called Al Jolson.
Oh, yes.
And my mammy...
Mommy,
yeah.
it walks a million miles for one of your smiles, my
Mammy.
He's the guy. He's the
Yes.
guy. Yeah.
Well, she wanted to call me Al.
Oh.
But my daddy said, if you call that child Al, I'll drown it.
You were, I tell you, God, boys.
Yes.
Oh, so you were called.
So
Alphonsus.
daddy's name was stuck on the front,
Yeah.
Joseph.
Do you know what's lovely?
Yes.
The way you refer to your parents, now gone and in heaven, there's a warmth, Mammy, Daddy.
Yes.
You know, it's lovely to hear
Yes.
that kind of intimacy and that kind of closeness.
Always did, yes. Always called Mommy and Daddy, yes.
It's lovely.
No matter how old I am,
Yeah.
yes.
It's lovely indeed. Now, what was the best thing about that Newry that you remember, Joseph?
Well, I suppose I wasn't too happy at the beginning. I wasn't too happy at the beginning with Christian Brothers
Why?
because they weren't very good, the brothers that I got. The very first year, 30 innocent children from the Mercy Convent coming to that wicked man, Brother Kelly.
Will you hold that thought? Because
Yes.
we're going to take a break now.
Right.
And we're going to be joined by a very good man, one
Right.
Mr. McKay,
Oh,
who
Benny.
might well know
Yes.
something about the events of our educative past.
Yes.
Destination Newry. Keep it on. We're back in moments.
So, you want local Newry and Mourne TV shows on your television? Which video box should you buy? Well, you have two options. Option 1 provides you as long as you have a good internet connection in your home with all the programs from DestinationNewry.com, including
inside the fencing when we were up there. That's such a change. And the dog muck.
Destination Newry.
Radio evolved.
Hello, your weather for today and tomorrow with Destination Newry. Today.
First, this is Newry News Bite.
Well, what's crack in Newry and Mourne today? We all had a great September weather-wise.
We're going to go straight into today's show with a lively set of tunes from a band called
Well, good morning. Welcome to Destination Newry.
Tell me the provenance of that. Where did it come from?
Greg there, and welcome back to the studio.
Good afternoon and welcome along to Destination Wellbeing. My guest this afternoon. Hi everyone and welcome to this week's Newry's Loose Women with me.
Well, it's hello and welcome once again to the programme. My name is Tommy Sands.
In the courts of the house of our God. Praise the Lord.
Philip Rogan, rather, wearing number 19.
Evening everybody, and you're very welcome to Newry Showgrounds tonight again.
So that's option 1, and to choose this, click on option 1 below, or you can go to vario.ie and buy option 1. Option 2 provides you, as long as you have a good internet connection in your home, everything you get for option 1, including all the programs from DestinationNewry.com. Plus, you will be able to add over 1,000 private or public channels at the touch of a button, most of which are free. So that's option 2. To buy, click below and buy option 2, or go to vario.ie and buy option 2. To choose your option, either option 1 or 2, just click on the buttons below, or you can go to vario.ie and click on option 1 or 2. When we receive your payment, we will deliver your box to your home, and all you need to do is plug it in and connect it to your TV and your internet. Any problems, we're here on standby to help.
You've reached your destination. Go!
We are now 3. Once we were 2. Joseph Alphonsus Morgan and my good self. Now we're joined by Mr. Benny McKay. How are you, sir?
Great, Rowan.
Another stalwart. Is that a good word to use, my dear writing friend? A stalwart of the Newry Writers Group.
Yes.
I think so. I think that goes well. So the Abbey was your place of educative beginnings, Joseph, and you weren't too happy. Neither was I too happy, because you had men in there who shouldn't have been Christian brothers at all.
Yes.
Weren't happy with it, and they allowed that unhappiness to overflow onto us.
That's right.
Yes.
That's what it was.
Yes.
But there were, I have to say, 1 or 2 certainly wonderful men there in my experience. I came across some good ones, and I came across some bad ones.
Yes.
It's the story of life, isn't it? I suppose.
That's the story of life, yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Benny, we've been shooting the breeze here about the old Newry and the grand old days, but there's a Newry that you remember and that you love. It's the Newry of the boats coming up the canal, for example.
That's true.
Can you remember the song you wrote about it, or the poem?
Yeah, I can remember the poem. And
can you?
Just the other day, the sea where Maxwell had opened, took the boat up to the second lock at the St. Colman's College.
Peter did that.
Yeah, Peter did that.
Great.
It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah. And it sort of what I had said in my poem was that I said that the boats would dock once more at Sands' Mill.
And they're going to do that.
And they've done that. They've already slipped in down the slipway at Sands' Mill, so it has happened.
Would you do that poem for us, and then we can move on across to hear about Patrick Kavanagh, which would be lovely.
I could do that for you. As you know, we're all sort of acting up in the U3A. This is our youngest thespian.
Wow.
Joseph Alphonsus Morgan. So we've all.
Are you in the play that we're going to be talking about at 10 o'clock or at 9:30? 19.
The star.
He's the star.
He's
Yeah,
the star.
same.
The young
Wow, I tell you.
Senior one.
That's good. Right.
Right.
Well, what's the name of it again?
It's a little thing. It's about the demise of the Newry Canal, which we wrote one day when we were having a wee look at it, and it didn't look particularly good.
No.
John
Donnelly and
Donnelly.
there used to be an old floating crane there,
Yeah.
and we'd lower the arm of the crane in, and we'd try and hook into the wreckage of a bit of a car. And if I couldn't easily hook in, Donnelly would put me over the side, and I'd go down and bash it in through the window and catch it on.
Oh, right.
And then he'd tighten it and would take. And there's time and time again we had 4 or 5 cars
Cars
on the
out
deck
of it, yeah.
on the deck of that old barge. I tell you,
God,
those were the days. So please,
Right. The demise of Newry Canal and the boats that sailed there, the fisher boats that were all named after trees, and the Inniscarra and the Dundalk brings back those memories. Though the years may roll on, the lighters are gone. The algae-covered waters are still. Please God, someday you'll let us have our say, and the boats will dock once more at Sansa's Mill. On the incoming tide, the Inniscarra sailed with pride. Into the Victoria Loch she did steer, then it's up the Fathom line where she made up her lost time. At Drommelane, the kids all give a cheer. Not Olive and the Cedar through fair and stormy weather steered for Garston, Liverpool and Birkenhead, whilst the walnut and the oak raised up steam, spat out smoke, cleared the bar as the fog rolled in ahead. The sheds have been pulled down, the crane no longer sounds, all the dust is settled from the coal, whilst the bollards surely rust and crumble into dust as the dockers make their way towards the Dole. On the Ramper banks at night, as the moon slips into sight, the morn slopes are sparkling with its rays. The lovers' hands do grasp as the oak sails gently past into the Albert Basin for the quay. At night, as I lie down and think about my town, and misty dreams do ferry me away, as the lighters clear the town and the way to Portadown. Sure it seems just like only yesterday. Though the years may roll on, the lighters are gone, the algae-covered waters are still. Please God, someday you'll let us have our say, and the boats will dock once more at Sansa's Mill. A central routeway off the north was based at Newry town, a man-made river that runs down to the sea. And the navvies in their thousands came with wrists and picks of steel, just to join in the new prosperity. And the cold and lonely mills and stores that stand in solitude were once the grand suppliers of our times. And the children now explore and dream of what must have been done, but the ivy covers all that went before. From Buttercrane Quay to Basin Walk, they loaded day and night, the coal and linen produce of the day. And the man who steers his barge along the canal from Portadown, just to lift the crane and the textiles from the quay. And the cold and lonely mills and stores that stand in solitude were once the grand suppliers of our times. And the children now explore and dream of what must have been done, but the ivy covers all that went before. Now the Ayrshires thread the towpath with their constant plodding feet. The course of life is slow but rather sweet. The canal is overgrown and her banks lie in decay. Will we ever see this part of our heritage? And the cold and lonely mills and stores that stand in solitude were once the grand suppliers of our times. And the children now explore and dream of what must have been done. And the ivy covers all that went before.
Bravo, sir. Well done.
Well done, well done.
And we're actually seeing the ivies going. Peter
Showing-
Maxwell and the
clearing it
Inland
away.
Waterways
Yeah.
Association doing great things.
Yeah.
So it's good, it's
That's
good.
great.
You, Joseph Alphonsus, take us a wee bit away from Newry now. Most
Yeah.
unlike you, because you are Mr. Newry, a wise old owl of the writing
Yes.
group. But you're going to take us to Paddy Kavanagh's country.
Yes.
What is the one we're going to do?
Inniskeen. I'd love to do Patrick's in memory of his mother.
This is a wee bit like the way you've been speaking about your mummy.
Yes.
And your daddy.
Yes.
A lovely, quaint, warm
Yeah.
way that he
Yes.
speaks about his mummy and his daddy.
Yes.
So you're not a million miles away from Patrick on
no.
this. Right.
Well, I was introduced to Kavanagh by a man in Newry here called Morris Mathers in Inniskeen. And from that night on, I just fell in love with the man. And he writes this beautiful little poem about his mommy. And it started, I do not think of you lying in the wet clay in a Monaghan graveyard. I see you walking down a lane among the poplars on your way to the station, or happily going to Mass on a summer Sunday. You meet me and you say, don't forget to see about the kettle. Among your earthiest words, the angels stray. And I think of you walking along a headlong of green oats in June, so full of repose, so rich with life. And I see us meeting at the end of a town on a fair day by accident. After the bargains are all made, we can walk together through the shops, the stalls, and the markets, free in the oriental streets of thought. Oh, you are not lying in the wet clay, for it's a harvest evening now, and we are piling up the ricks against the moonlight. And you smile up at us eternally. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Well done. That's
Good old
beautiful,
Patrick.
Joseph.
Yes.
Joseph Alphonsus Morgan. That's very, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Have you at any stage written about your own mother and father?
I have lots of stories, yes.
Now answer the question. Have you written about them?
Oh, I have written,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, sorry, no. I thought you were just sort of dodging the question
Oh,
there.
sorry, no.
You have it written down.
I have it all.
And have you put it in one of the books that the Society
Yeah,
has?
it's in all my wee stories is with our Newry Writers Group.
Oh, you must bring it in again.
Yes.
We must hear that.
Yes.
There's a man who talks and muses so wonderfully about Patrick Kavanagh, a stranger. I long to hear your stories of your mummy and daddy.
Yes.
Long to hear that. Christmas when I was a boy in Newry, it's very short. May I give it to you?
Yeah.
And
lovely.
you'll recognize, we'll talk after so much of it you recognize. Are we ready? They were the best of times and none were better and people seemed to talk more. Christmas years ago, during the age of growing up, was a time of magic and mystery, unsullied by cheap commercialism. As you say, we didn't have much. I remember well standing on Hill Street, not 20 yards from the big clock, the golden teapot round the corner. Christmas was just a few shopping days away, and I and Joe McKay and Michael Hand, like all the others in the throng, were shopping and talking. Days without plastic toys, plastic money, when people seemed to care more about each other. Christmas seemed to last longer, and there were more family and friends to visit. Days of warm colours and people of midnight mass and confraternity, when Saturday nights were for the Florentine, and not for observing the obligations of the Sunday at the other end of the street in the cathedral. Foster's was where Wellworth's is, a place of megastore promise, and a coffee bar with paintings for sale. We remember. A manager too, Barry Edwards, who cared enough to turn part of his store over to fundraising for Oxfam. There was a place called Moneyworth's, I think, where spinning tops and bric-a-brac were on sale in what I remember was the warm yellow light of the electricity of another age. Bannons for furniture, Cavendishes, and young mothers wheeling home children who shared prams with the new oilcloth for the scullery, or the turkey or the chicken on the last of the shopping of the last days before the holiday. People didn't get drunk on the streets in the way that they seem to do today. The strange and empty awfulness of young people, homeless and drunk and threatening, well, it just wasn't there. The boats came into the basin. They always seemed to tie up for the holiday, and empty hulls held for the Christmas only, the ghosts of other times and places, the Dundalk and the Inniscarra, the Oak and the Olive. Christmas brought rest from the coasting and the coal run to Garston. Newry seamen were at home with loved ones. The anger of the winter sea beyond the locks for a time. It was a time of warmth and family. There was a man, too, who lived, you probably remember this, in a barge at the back of Fisher's timber yard, just at the railway bridge. Do you remember? You always knew he was at home when the smoke drifted up from the bent stack of iron that stuck up from the cabin roof. Christmas was a time, too, for confession and midnight mass, and the breakfast afterwards. Not always the cathedral, mind you, but the tin hut that was St. Bridget's in the meadow in the days before the great chapel that replaced it. The tin hut was small, but there was always the smell of the candles and the wet of the winter on the coats of the Christians who gathered. People prayed and then rushed home for the business of the early morning. Toys were laid out at the ready for the gallop downstairs in houses of Derrybeg Drive, Oriel Road, Ivey Crescent and Killeavy Road. Those were the days too of snow houses, when prizes plucked from boxes on Christmas night always seemed great, and we were all going to be something when we grew up. We had Mary Street to visit and Christmas dinners that went on late into the night. Tree decorations that weren't plastic, and people who loved us, and we loved them. There were presents of the finest overcoats and jumpers and trousers from folk who cared. The Palladium on black and white television. Real fires, and looking forward to summer. That's it.
Beautiful.
You rings a few bells there for us, doesn't it?
That's great.
Yeah, it's there. It never leaves us, boys, does it?
Yeah.
Ron, it's funny, I was coming home from Bunclodia. I was reading the Irish Independent, and there was an article in it that shows you how Christmas has changed. There was a riot at a store in Dublin, in Smith's, the toy store.
Yes.
Seemingly, there's this toy, it's called the Frozen doll.
Oh.
And it goes with the film and that. And they've been made hand over fist in China.
Oh, yes.
And they can't stand them out fast enough.
My goodness.
What had happened was the crowd had waited to get in, and they raced into the store for these frozen dolls. And they finished up, the ambulance had to be called, the guards had to be called, they fought the peace out over who was getting these frozen dolls.
Do you ever hear that?
I mean, that's what Christmas has got.
Yeah, it's gone.
When Kavanagh and yourself wrote about it,
yeah.
It brings the magic.
Yeah.
Even the tin hut and the smell of the
smell of the clothes and the wet. And did it just strike you the way the light of the electricity? This is white electricity.
Yeah.
But the electricity when I was a boy it wasn't white at all.
Yellow.
It was yellow.
Yes.
And it was hanging on a brown cable. That was sort of
And I dealt with the wee gas mantles.
Did you?
Yeah.
You had to light those.
They were so delicate.
Yeah. You
know.
You got to get it right.
Yeah.
But you were always a man of delicacy. There's no doubt about you. There's no doubt about you.
As Kavanagh rightly said about Christmas, mass going feet crunch the wafer thin ice in the potholes.
You can hear it and feel it as you go.
Lovely. Yes.
Cassiopeia was over Cassidy's.
Cassiopeia over Cassidy's
hanging hill.
Yeah,
yes.
Absolutely. That's all good.
That's
all
beautiful.
good. So, boys, the whole thing about the writing and the group, it still goes on, and you're meeting every month, is that right?
We meet every month.
Are you still over in the Phoenix?
No. We've moved to the bank.
The bank? Oh,
yes.
good.
The Phoenix changed hands. Betty has, and it's now more of a sports pub. And they
well,
did a
that's
great job.
yeah,
and they were very good to us at the time that we were there. And were excellent. We're now in the bank, and they're looking after us very well.
Good. Well, sure, that's the place to be. And how do people join you?
They they just come along, they hear about us, and they say,
And when
like
does it
that.
occur?
The first
Monday
of the month.
Every month. Yes.
Well,
Come in, take your story, tell it, sit
Yes.
down, you'll get a cup of tea, everybody will listen to it and
Yeah.
enjoy it,
Well, that's the thing.
Yes.
Maybe we could do. We're coming close to the first Monday, are we not, of December?
We are indeed.
We're not a
yeah.
hound's goal away from it.
No.
So maybe you and I, the three of us, will talk afterwards.
Yeah.
And we'll organise a Friday before the Monday.
Yeah.
When we'll have a wee bit of 2 or 3 of us here. Well, see, the 2 of you plus 1 more.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
we'll read a wee bit from the book, and we'll talk, and we'll crank you get the head of steam up for the Monday.
Yeah.
Good, and then you might give you a little Lennon Hall Square story.
Wow, and
A
that
barrack story.
would be good.
Yeah.
You will
Also,
have
what
that.
is very important, we're having a special night, believe it or not, this Thursday night in the Arts Centre.
Yes, what's happening?
And
yes.
we're doing it just a special. There's an art, the local people are putting on their art gallery, and they've had it on, and it's finishing the following day.
Yeah.
So we asked them, and we're coming in. We're going to read our stories
That's
up in the
great.
gallery.
Yeah.
And there's no charge. People will come in. There'll be a cup of tea, and our good friend Joseph Alphonsus will lead us down memory lane.
Yes.
Oh, that's gorgeous. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm going to shake your hand. It's
Good
a
man,
joy.
Rowan.
It's a joy knowing you. God
Thank
bless
you,
you.
Rowan.
Benny,
Thank you,
Thanks,
Rowan.
Ron.
a joy having walked the hills with you. And
This
all
is
the rest
it,
of
yeah.
Yes.
God bless you. You're with Destination Uri. It is the morning programme. Benny McKay and Joseph Alphonsus Morgan going from us at this moment. Coming very shortly, the local coterie of the U3A who are involved in thespianism. And they're with the Kaleidoscope production seeking to make a difference in bringing an art centre, a place for performance, a palladium, if you like, for the older folk of Northern Ireland. All that coming very, very shortly.